Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, where in today's audio-visual extravaganza, Ruby Idiotka here in the Japanese Tier 10 destroyer, the Shimakaze in this Tier 10 domination battle on the Shatter map, is going to be having moments of ooh, he's going to be having moments of ah, he's going to be having moments of what the hell? Most of these moments are going to be as a result of his extremely brave choice of torpedoes, more on that in a moment. But other of these moments are going to be as a result of... Well, it's worth pointing out that this isn't an exclusively Tier 10 battle, and some of the Tier 8s in this match are definitely going to be punching above their weight. Unfortunately, those Tier 8s are on the enemy team. Some of those other ooh, ah, and what the hell moments are unfortunately going to be as a result of some of the Tier 10s in this battle, and two of them in particular, unfortunately, are on Ruby's team. I'm talking about the Tier 10 Battleship Division, consisting of the Preußen and the Große Kurfürst, who, and if I'm being generous to them here, can best be described as no use whatsoever to the team alive. And yet another one of those ooh, ah, what the hell moments, and if I'm being brutally honest here, it's pretty much just a what the hell moment, is down to Wargaming's own game mechanics, and don't worry, I'll point it out when it happens. Now then, about those torpedoes. So, the Shimakaze is unusual in that it's one of those Tier 10s that you don't actually fully unlock when you fully unlock it, because there are torpedo upgrades that still have to be ground out or have free experience thrown at them. The default Type 93 torpedoes, which I like to refer to as the noob tubes, are basically garbage, but they're the ones that you get. They have a 20-kilometre range, and that's really all everybody seems to care about. But that 20-kilometre range, which is great, comes with severe penalties. They're the slowest, they do the least damage, although they still do 20,000 damage, and they are the easiest to spot of all the torpedoes available to the Shimakaze. You can literally see these things coming from low Earth orbit. Now, it has been pointed out that they are in fact the best torpedoes for dealing with enemy carriers, and I would have to agree with that. And this is mostly because of the 20-kilometre range. But saying that they're the best torpedoes for dealing with enemy carriers is basically admitting that these torpedoes are only good for taking care of targets right on the map border that are completely immobile and 100% oblivious of anything that's going on around them. All of this is true, but it does not make them good torpedoes. The Type 93 Mod 3 torpedoes, the 12-kilometre range torpedoes, seem to be the torpedoes of choice for most Shimakaze captains. They have more than enough range, they're faster, and they do significantly more damage. The Type F3 torpedoes, these ones are not for the faint of heart because they only have an 8-kilometre range, but they are incredibly fast and they still do a large amount of damage. But you have to put yourself into significantly more harm's way in order to use these things effectively. And as we saw in the Slovenian Navy video last week, if you can use these things effectively, boy oh boy oh boy, you're going to rack up the kills. Ruby is of course using the Type F3 torpedoes because he likes to live fast, die young and leave a good looking corpse. The choice of torpedoes is the main reason why I don't often show Shimakaze replays, because just launching a wall of skill at your enemies 20 kilometers away every 2 minutes doesn't really make for interesting gameplay. The Type F3 torpedoes, however, they're basically shotgun suicide torpedoes, so you do tend to get a more interesting gameplay experience. Oh, if he'd popped that engine boost like 2 seconds earlier, he would have run into those. But he didn't, so he's fine. And now that things are about to start getting interesting, because I'm such a merciless tease, it's time for a word from our sponsors. Which once again is CuriosityStream. You've probably heard of CuriosityStream, they're fairly well known, not least of which because I think this is now the 3rd sponsorship that I've done for them, and I'm entirely happy to continue doing so because they're absurdly good value for money. With plans starting for as little as less than $5 a month for thousands and thousands of hours of high-quality documentaries and series, with new shows dropping every single week. Some of which is exclusive to CuriosityStream. You literally cannot see this stuff anywhere else. And regardless of how you like to get your history fix, whether that be on your TV, your computer, your phone, your tablet, they have you covered. All of these options are available. Today's recommendation is The End of the War in Colour. It's a film that was shot by Hollywood filmmaker George Stevens and his team, who were embedded with the US Army after D-Day in 1944, and were present and filming in colour at certain fairly significant moments during the war in the West, including in the first episode, when the US Army had captured but not yet occupied the Imperial German city of Aachen, the first German city to fall to Allied forces in World War II. The historic meeting of the US Army and the Red Army forces at the River Elbe in Germany, the fall of Nuremberg, and then the unconditional surrender of Germany in the end of World War II. All of this captured in colour film by George Stevens' documentary team. It's a fascinating series and very, very well worth a watch. So that's The End of the War in Colour on CuriosityStream. Go to curiositystream.com/mightyjingles or scan that QR code on the screen for unlimited access to the world's top documentaries and non-fiction series. And if you use promo code mightyjingles, you'll get 25% off the already extremely affordable plans available. So click that link below or go to curiositystream.com/mightyjingles and save 25% right now. Right, so Ruby, what are you doing? Well, he's already flipped this central cap at Bravo unopposed. He's gotten a couple of torpedoes away, hasn't hit anything. Yet. And now he's trying his luck at, well, the enemy team have flipped Charlie. Alpha is still contested. There's still a hell of a fight going on over there, but his team don't look to be in a fantastic position. You'll note that Ruby has the RPF skill. So there's a sort of, there it is, it just flipped, pointing the other way. Yes, that's right. Enemy, oh, his torpedoes have actually caught something, okay. The RPF skill points towards the closest enemy ship. Notice how it shifted towards the enemy submarine on the surface at the last possible second. More on that in a moment. But yes, he got spotted by the submarine, which put him in a little bit of trouble, but the submarine didn't like the idea of an enemy destroyer being this close, and he's ducked either into cover behind the island or he's submerged. Probably still on the surface, since the RPF halo is still pointing towards him in the direction that Ruby is travelling. Yep, there he is. Ruby's closing in. He is, of course, spotted again, takes a look behind him, doesn't want to get shot at by, well, anybody. The submarine, of course, hits him with a sonar ping. He uses his damage control to mitigate it so those torpedoes don't home. The RPF indicator just flips to point to the ships behind him. The ones down there by Cap Circle Alpha. What's going on? Isn't there a submarine within 3 kilometers? There is. There's actually a submarine within 2 kilometers, which is supposed to be the automatic assured detection range. You know, the range at which, regardless of all other circumstances, you detect an enemy. But RPF is still pointing elsewhere. This would be the what the hell moment. RPF will only point towards a submarine when it's on the surface. What the hell, Wargaming? Well, anyway, he's caught him with the depth charges. I suppose you could argue that this extreme bullshit is completely fair, since the submarine isn't spotting him either. And he did get the submarine. So Ruby's up to 1 cap and 2 kills. Took the cap at Bravo, sank the Schlieffen with his torpedoes, earning himself the first blood achievement in the process, and then put the team ahead by 1 kill, taking down the Salmon with his depth charges. Torpedoes away again at the Thunderer. I mean, the angle isn't great, but the thing about these torpedoes, 76 knots and very low detection range, and if you're heading towards them, well, it's more likely that they're actually coming at you at a relative speed of around 100 knots. Leaves you very, very little time to manoeuvre. Oh, he got spotted. Smoke up. Also, the reload on these things isn't bad either. By default, 131 seconds, which is slightly more than 2 minutes. Oh, there's a torpedo hit. Possibly another one. Is he going to get the kill on the... He did! There goes the Thunderer. Enemy destroyer spotted. Shimakaze captains are quite notorious for forgetting that they have guns. I mean, it's fairly easy to forget, because the Shimakaze sits at the top of one of 2 lines of Japanese destroyers, and the line that it sits at the top of is the line of Japanese destroyers that have good torpedoes and terrible guns. But while Nobody's going to accuse the Shimakaze of having good guns. It does have guns. And out of all of the other destroyers in this line, it probably has the best ones. The turret rotation's awful. But the reload isn't that bad. And they hit very, very hard with the high explosive shells. Plus, when you're fighting a Jaeger, which has even worse guns than the worst Japanese destroyer, there's absolutely no reason to not get into a gunfight. Jaeger there, finished off, I think, by the Mecklenburg secondaries. This is turning into a bit of a riot. The enemy team have lost 7 ships. Ruby's team have only lost 3. Enemy team are down to 130 points. Ruby here, responsible for 3 of those kills. And one of the cap circles is now in the process of flipping the cap circle. And Alpha here, although the enemy team haven't given up, they're trying to take Charlie, which seems like their best chance at the moment, but they're very, very soon going to be not far short of 500 points behind. Well, spoiler, this is an episode of A Game of Throws. What's going to happen here? Well, I mean, it is an episode of Game of Throws, so you're looking at this massive lead that Ruby's team have, and I'm pretty sure you probably think you know what's coming. But there's more than one way that an episode of A Game of Throws can pan out, so hopefully you're still going to be surprised by the time we reach the end of this battle. There's been a brief exchange of kills there. Not enough. I mean, the enemy team are actually now 1 further point behind than they were a minute ago. But now they have the cap circle at Charlie under their command. So they're starting to gain some points, but they're now down to 4 ships. The enemy team have sunk the Katsonis that just sank the friendly Club Bear. The enemy team, of course, now have no destroyers, 2 cruisers, 2 battleships. Ruby's team, of course, still have destroyers and a submarine, so those 2 battleships are probably going to be very, very nervous. However, the enemy team do have radar, the Buffalo over there. So, yep, he's now the closest enemy ship. Remember, these torpedoes only have an 8-kilometer range, so unless the target is moving towards you, you have to get to within radar range in order to use these torpedoes effectively. So this is going to be tricky. Unfortunately for Ruby, I'm sure the target that he would like to sink, the Grosse Kurfürst over there, is actually heading away from him. And the only target that is roughly heading in a direction to meet his torpedoes, and there he is, he's radared. Right. Abort! Abort! Fortunately, the Shimakaze is very, very fast. It's no longer the fastest ship in the game, but it's still pretty damn quick. And he also has the engine boost running, so he should be able to get out of dodge without taking too much damage. Oh, I spoke too soon. He got spanked there, good and proper. Spotted within secondary range of the Grosse Kurfürst and the Buffalo. Also, immediately he was detected, switched his fire. So, yeah. I mean, he got the torpedoes away, but they are a bit ambitious. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised by those, not after he got spotted there. So that was unlucky. It was a bit of a gamble, but it wasn't that much of a risk. He just got very unlucky that the Buffalo's spider sense was tingling and he activated his radar when he did. The Atago's taken out the Montana. The enemy ship are now down to... Enemy ship? Enemy team now down to 3 ships. Yep, his torpedoes are not going to get the Grosse Kurfürst. I mean, it was an extremely ambitious shot. He had to basically dump them in the water, cross his fingers and run and just hope. There was very little chance he was actually going to catch the Grosse Kurfürst with the torpedoes launched from that range, but the Halland's torpedoes are looking pretty nice. Halland torpedoes are even faster than the Shimakaze F3s. They do way less damage though, so you pretty much need to hit a target. Oh wow, great, the team have lost their submarine. There goes the Sturdy. That's a very brave Halland trying to take a Grosse Kurfürst secondaries on in a gunfight. Speaking of bravery, look, that's actually Grosse Kurfürst 6-kilometer hydro. That's how close Ruby is risking getting here, which of course opens him up to some counterfire there from the Buffalo. There are some shots coming in from the Grosse Kurfürst secondaries, but the thing is, when you get this close with torpedoes that do 76 knots, even if you're running hydro... Oh, I'm sorry. Was I in your way, Mr. Atago? But yes, even if you're running Hydro, just knowing that they're coming doesn't really give you enough time to do anything about it. Oh, Anago, what are you doing? What? Why? Why would you give broadside to a... Seriously, getting your torpedoes away is not worth losing the ship. Oh dear. Yep, he's basically buggered. That's what happens when you give broadside to a battleship in a cruiser at that kind of range. The cruiser dies. On the bright side, the Grosser Kurfürst's down, which means the enemy team are down to 2 ships. The bad news is that while Ruby was kicking that Grosser Kurfürst to death, the rest of the team have basically died. The Halland's gone. In fact, the only other 2 survivors on the team are those guys. 2 tier 10 battleships, still on full health right at the end of the battle. Oh, hang on a minute. The Grosser Kurfürst and the Preußen. I believe I mentioned them at the beginning of the video, didn't I? Yes, I did. This is the division that's no use to the team alive. And they're Ruby's only surviving teammates. Come on, Jingles. I think you're overstating the case here a little. I mean, the only 2 surviving ships on the enemy team are a Tier 8 cruiser, the Hipper, and the Tier 9 cruiser, the Buffalo, against 2 full health Tier 10 German battleships with awesome secondaries and tanky as all hell. Yeah. That's right. But... oh, you'd be amazed. And appalled. Probably mostly appalled, but definitely amazed. Observe as the Grosser Kurfürst on 100,000 health goes in against the Hipper on 12,000 health. Oh. Clearly that Buffalo's within about 10 kilometres. The Preußen, of course, going out of his way to ensure that he's no possible use whatsoever to the Grosser Kurfürst. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But I mean, it's a Tier 8 cruiser against a Tier 10 battleship, and the Tier 10 battleship still has 100,000 health, so how can the Grosser Kurfürst possibly lose this fight? Uh-huh. How, oh how can the Grosser Kurfürst possibly lose this fight? Maybe if he sails into a whole bunch of Hipper torpedoes, and then instead of getting out while the getting's good, he waits in the same spot for the Hipper to turn around and launch a whole bunch of other torpedoes into him. Maybe that's how a 100,000 health Grosser Kurfürst can lose a fight to a 12,000 health Tier 8 Hipper. I mean, the Grosser Kurfürst is giving the Hipper every possible chance to do it again. He ran aground and he's now slowly backing up. Here comes the Buffalo as well, though. Ruby got some torpedoes away. He's counting on the Buffalo running into torpedo range. Ruby spotted again. The Hipper is probably concentrating on the Grosser Kurfürst, but hey, when you've got this little health, why take the chance? He's got another set of torpedoes away against the Hipper. Clearly the Grosser Kurfürst is running his Hydro, because those Hipper torpedoes were spotted the second they were launched, but, well, once again, at that kind of range, I mean, just because you can see them coming doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to do anything about it. Well, the good news, Ruby got the Hipper. Honestly, that Hipper played extremely well. Remember, he is just a Tier 8 in a Tier 10 battle. The Grosser Kurfürst, however... Remember, exposing broadside like that right in front of a Grosser Kurfürst at point-blank range in order to get your torpedoes away is exactly what got the Atago killed. Didn't quite work out like that this time, though. The enemy team now have 2 cap circles. I mean, they're still behind on points, and they still only have 1 ship left, and it is just a cruiser against a Tier 10 battleship, the Preußen over there, who managed to circle. I'm not really sure what the Preußen's doing, but he was no help whatsoever during that engagement when the Hipper absolutely spanked. Remember, the Hipper only had 12,000 health at the start of that battle. The grosser curve first had 100,000. I mean, the Hipper's definitely earned his place on the team. The Preußen has finally got himself into a position where he can actually shoot at something and scores a couple of hits on the Buffalo. The Buffalo, while it has radar, which is bad news for Ruby, it doesn't have torpedoes, which is great news for the Preußen. Now, at this stage of a battle, it's not unusual for a radar cruiser to be out of radar charges, but that's a heavy cruiser, and Ruby does not have an awful lot of health left, so it would be wise to not make that assumption, and just assume that the Buffalo does actually have radar, and never get close enough to be detected. The problem, of course, is that these torpedoes do only have an 8-kilometer range, so if you want to hit the Buffalo with the torpedoes, he either has to be coming towards you, or you're going to have to get to within radar range in order to get any torpedoes away. And, well, if you have a look up here, you will see that Ruby is located. Now, that doesn't mean that the Buffalo knows exactly where it is. It means that the Buffalo, like Ruby, is running the RPF skill, so he has an indicator pointing in the direction of the Buffalo at all times as the closest enemy ship, and that's true of the Buffalo as well, so he always knows where the closest enemy ship is, and at the moment that's Ruby. He also knows that the ship he can't see, but which his RPF skill is pointing towards, is a destroyer, because, well, team lists exist. He knows he's facing a Preußen, he also knows he's facing the Shimakaze, so he's going to have, if he has any radar charges left, one finger hovering anxiously over the radar button. So Ruby really cannot afford to get to within radar range of the Buffalo. The thing is, Ruby knows he doesn't have to get to within radar range of the Buffalo to get any torpedoes away. He just has to stay alive for the next 30 seconds, because the team are up to 963 points, and thanks to either good luck or good judgment on the part of the Preußen over there, while playing a fruitless game of chasey, catchy, killy against the Buffalo over there, the Preußen sailed through the central cap circle at Bravo and flipped it. And the Buffalo, realising that it's now completely pointless trying to take that cap circle at Alpha, because it wouldn't make any difference with the time remaining, Ruby's team were always going to win on points, despite the best efforts of certain members of Ruby's team desperately trying to throw away what looked like a certain victory there. Ruby's team have in fact won, with a first blood and a Kraken Unleashed for Ruby in the Shimakaze. Look at that. 2,500 base experience. That's pretty impressive. Then, oh, look at that. The grosser curve first, right at the bottom of the team on experience earned. Commiserations, of course, to that poor Hipper, who scored more experience on a loss than everybody on the winning team except for Ruby himself. Man, that's gotta suck. But, well, for every winner there has to be a loser. That's just the way it goes. So congratulations to Ruby for an extremely well-played Shimakaze game. I hope you all enjoyed it, and of course, as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.